Hi friends, hope you are all doing good. Today I am alone on this ride. Amlanda is busy with some urgent work, hence he couldn't come. Today I am going to Bashbedia. Bashbedia is located 48 kilometers from Howrah and about 70 kilometers from Kolkata and is an hour's journey on the Howrah-Bandel Katwa rail line. You can take a morning train for a comfortable journey. A short bumpy ride on a rickshaw from the station will take you to the Hansheshwari temple complex. This is my first destination, which houses two unique pieces of Bengal architecture. It's also very much communicable by road via the Delhi road. You can Google the directions and reach very easily. It's quite foggy today and the chill has diminished a bit. But it's a pleasure to ride in such conditions. I do long for such rides, although Delhi road is quite busy. Bashbedia is ideal for spending a Sunday away from home, but not too far away. The main attraction in this village are temples with intricate terracotta works. The history of Bashbedia dates back to the days of Shah Jahan. In 1656, the Mughal emperor appointed Raghav Datta Roy of Patuli as the zamindar of an area that includes the present day's Bashbedia. Legend has it that Raghav's son Rameshwar cleared a bamboo grove to build a fort, inspiring the name Bashbedia. The Hansheshwari temple was built in the beginning of the 19th century. This temple is one of a unique temple structure that I have ever seen. It is a perfect example of beauty, symmetry, and unique architecture. It has 13 minarets which are shaped on top like lotus buds, with the deity being placed under the central spire, standing on the lotus. King Nrsimhadev Rai, while staying in Varanasi, learnt deeply Kundalini and 6 cycle centers or 6 chakras of human system. He endeavored to build a temple at Bashbedia based on Kundalini and yogic concepts. At that time, rupees 1 lakh or more was spent in procuring marbles from a hilly area called Chunar situated near Benares. Skilled artisans were also brought from this place to build up the temple. Unfortunately, the king left for his heavenly abode in the year 1802 in the midway of the construction of the temple. His queen, Shankari, took the initiative and the temple was completed in the year 1814. The total cost came out to be about 5 lakh of rupees in those days, which was a huge sum of money. The temple is now taken over as a heritage site by the Archaeological Survey of India. The main deity is the blue neem wood idol of 4-armed goddess Hansheshwari, a manifestation of goddess Kali. Even the deity has been designed and installed following the concept of yoga and pranayam. 4-handed Mother Shakti is standing on her right leg, resting the left leg on her right thigh. The upper right hand is carrying a sword to represent her power to curb the demons, and the lower left one is carrying a severed head of a demon. The upper right palm is posted in a fearless mudra, Abhaya mudra, so as to depict her as a protector from the world, from the evils, whereas the lower right hand is posted in a way as if to offer her blessings to all. Next to Hansheshwari temple is the Ananta Basudev temple. It was constructed by Rameshwar Datto in 1679. The Ananta Vasudev temple follows the typical Akprotno style of Bengal temple architecture, where the temple is crowned with a single pinnacle. The pinnacle of the Ananta Vasudev temple is octagonal. Three sides of the temple, along with the pinnacle, is covered with finest terracotta. The terracotta is so intricate that it inspired the great poet Rabindranath Tagore. Moved by the art, the poet had asked Nandalal Bose to document the panel on the temple walls. The terracotta panel of Ananta Vasudev temple contains an interesting mix covering religious figures of Kali, Durga and Krishna, along with panels of boats and ships, dancing girls, scenes from war, and last but not the least, scenes from daily life. The house of the Raja is still present next to the temple complex. Unfortunately, the present condition is nothing in comparison with the original grandeur. Apart from the main housing section, there are several unbroken, uncatalogued brick structures around the property. About few kilometers from the Hansheshwari temple is the Zafar Khan Ghazi Masjid. The Zafar Khan Ghazi Masjid is not just the oldest mosque of Bengal, but it is the oldest standing Islamic structure of any kind. The complex consists of a mosque and a dargah with several tombs, and it remains an active religious site. However, the identity of the man Zafar Khan Ghazi remains a mystery even now. Towards the eastern face of the dargah, which is facing the river, you can see the ornamented window, but in reality, this was the main entrance of the Vishnu temple, which you can clearly make out by looking at the jam door. The place where the door is supposed to be had now been replaced by stone grills, possibly from a different section of the original temple. As I entered the dargah, it was the main heritage site. The dargah section has two rooms, one on the east, that is room 1, and one on the west, that is room 2. Both of these rooms were without a roof. As per historians, the dargah is actually a Vishnu temple where room 1 is the Antaral and room 2 is the Garbhagriha. The door jamb of room 1 at Zafar Khan Ghazi Dargah is filled with artifacts from the earlier temple. Room 1 has the tombs of Barkhan Ghazi and his two sons, Rahim Khan and Karim Khan. Room 2 has the tombs of Zafar Khan, Ain Khan Ghazi, Gain Khan Ghazi and wife Barkhan Ghazi. Surprisingly, Zafar Khan was buried in the second room and not in the first room. The metal rings separating the two rooms, people tie incense stick packets here to request to wish fulfillment. Door jamb of room 2 of the Zafar Khan Ghazi Dargah showing similar temple motifs and patterns. Room 1 to room 2 connection passage clearly resemble the passage of one section of a temple to another. On a closer inspection of the wall, you can clearly see the Hindu deities. Zafar Khan Ghazi Mosque. Like the Dargah, the mosque was also built with materials taken from earlier temples as well as from an earlier mosque. In most probability, there would have been taken from an earlier mosque which was demolished to build this new mosque. To make matters more confusing for me, Some of the stones have inscriptions as per historians from different mosques which were brought here and might have been installed when the mosque was being rebuilt. This leads to confusion of dates, but it is well known that this was built by Zafar Khan. Thus, we can very well figure out as to which of the original inscriptions belong to this place. The mosque had 10 domes which was divided in 2 rows, 5 on the east and 5 to the west. Out of the 10 domes, only 6 domes are visible. Some portions of this mosque still have a close reference to the temple, like the ornamental design patterns, or for the matter, some of the pillars which have a very distinct temple-like patterns on them. The mosque also has some terracotta panels which can be obviously made out due to the natural coloring and creates an unusual visual bond with the other stone structures. In the end, I have laid down all possibilities as to who Zafar Khan Ghazi was and showed you all the remaining fragments of the temple as well as the mosque. After this, I went for Bandel Church, which was closed because of COVID since March 2020 and is yet to open. I also visited Hooghly Imambara, but that story will be on some other video. You can plan a short trip to Bajberia and visit these places where history meets religion and art. Hope you liked this video. Please do subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to get more such travel story notifications, and please do like this video. Till we meet again on another journey, take care and thanks for watching.